How's it going, guys? Shavua Tov. Happy Hanukkah. So, I think it's it might be appropriate to talk about what I want to talk about tonight. You know, up until this point, we talk a lot about kind of the situation in Israel in terms of, again, I don't like to call it politically. I'm just, let's just call it what it is. Just the situation, right? And what a lot of people have been noticing is the amazing kind of thing that's been happening in Israel with the Israeli public for the past 2 months. All of a sudden people had an awakening, and they want to, they're seeking out God. The people of Israel are seeking out Hashem. And guys, it's interesting. I just saw a video from a friend of mine sent to me. It was a father who lost his, actually a father and a mother, but the father was doing most of the talking. A father who lost his son in this war, and he's grieving and he's mourning. And he came on one of the news networks in Israel, and he said, guys, I'm just, condensing. It was a 15-minute message that he gave over, but I'm just going to condense the general idea. He spoke directly to the media and directly to the politicians. He said, guys, can you please stop dividing us? Stop dividing the country. You're poisoning the country with your stuff, with your behavior. And then he basically said, Bibi has to, whoever is in charge, in this case it's Bibi, has to finish the job. Don't stop until the end, right? And so, guys, with that said, it seemed, and by the way, the guy said, I'm not a left wing or a right wing, by the way. I'm just a patriot, and that's it, and that was basically it. So it seems to me, guys, people in Israel are seeking out Hashem, right? And but over the course of the last 40 years, the media and the politicians and all these entities have done such a bang-up job in literally, psyoping and demoralizing the Israeli public, for the most part, against Hashem and against the Torah and against anything really Jewish. Guys, well, you could say, well, no, what do you mean? Like, look at all this Torah that's being learned in Israel. Look at all these... Guys, anything that happens positive towards the Torah, towards mitzvot, and towards God in the land of Israel is despite those guys. Is a miracle. But guys, we see the situation. We were seeing the situation. What was going on the last at least 30 years, if not more, where there's so much ignorance about, deliberate ignorance about the Torah, about anything really, anything about heritage. Again, I'm not talking about being Haredi and all the rest of it, guys. Just knowledge, And since that attack happened, you see that the people of Israel are reaching out. They're trying to figure out, what should I be doing here? I saw a video of this guy. He's a big, self-professed leftist. It's funny actually. It's Hanukkah now, but he made a post on Facebook. He said, I did Kiddush for the first time ever, probably or in forever. I didn't even know what brachas to say. I didn't even know what blessings to say. So I said the blessings of Hanukkah. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, on the one hand, it's sad that, people don't know what they're supposed to say, but on the other hand, I was like, wow, of all the things, so to speak, leftists can do, can say it's the blessings of Hanukkah, guys. Even if they're not over wine, it's just the blessings of Hanukkah, guys. Hanukkah is the ultimate defeat of people who went against the Torah, who went against Hashem. Not just of Greeks, of these Hellenists who went against the Torah and Hashem. It was first and foremost this, unfortunately, it was a, civil war. Spiritual civil war. And so, you also hear like these stories of people who are like, they're calling up these, radio stations, Haredi radio stations. Can you please show me tell me what to say? These ladies, they want to light candles. They don't know what to say, what to do. Folks, right now, the iron is hot. Right now, we're 2 months removed from basically the worst attack in Israel's history. It is, now counting wars and all that stuff, like actual, like the wars that we had in the 60s and 70s, this was the worst attack on the citizens of Israel in the history of the state. And obviously we know we haven't had anything like this since the Shoah, right? So certain elements may even be worse, as we know. It's not a blasphemous for me to say that. It's not. So, with that said, guys, people are waking up, and they, again, guys, I was talking to a friend of mine about, the lefties in Israel. I said, the lefties, regular citizens, are not the problem. These are people who were psyoped and brainwashed. They're the so-called leaders, the so-called people in the tops of these organizations or parties or whatever, apparatuses, they're the problem. But I don't want to get into that right now. The point is, guys, there's just a lot of ignorance. People want to know. And there's nothing really terribly organized in Israel that's going to, kind of, how should I put this? Like, there's nowhere people can go in a mass fashion to where they can go learn. Now you guys can say, well, what about all the cure organizations in Israel? Folks, people have to know to go to them. They live in a different matrix. They live in a different world. Guys, I remember when I first was in yeshiva, I was in Jerusalem, and, I remember, like, visiting my friends' relatives in Haifa, like Russian-speaking Jews who were, like, completely disconnected, right? This is in 2012. And they're like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm in yeshiva, right? I'm in a place called I'm in a neighborhood called Beit HaKerem in Jerusalem, And they're just like, so what? They literally. The guy was like, the husband was like, I went to Jerusalem. Last time I went to Jerusalem was like 5 years ago. These people go to Jerusalem, they think Jerusalem is like Times Square, the Kotel. Folks, people live in different matrices in Israel. You could literally be a person could be living in Jerusalem, and another person could be living in Haifa, another person could be living in Tel Aviv, different cities, and they could literally never talk to each other, never meet, never encounter each other. They live in literally different worlds. Friends, there are people, like, you could go to a town called Peduel in western Shomron, to a park, and sit on a bench, and you can see, and you could look at this, like viewfinder, and you could see the entirety of Tel Aviv. And the people that you're looking at, the houses that you're looking at, the people inside those houses, have never met people from Peduel. And many of them don't even want to, because of what the media is telling them. Again, friends, I'm stopping short of, God forbid, like, dividing anybody. The point is, guys, this was an orchestrated campaign by different entities in the government and in the media to basically separate people who live in certain places from people who are, attached to the Torah and attached to, Jewish heritage and attached to the dreams and aspirations of the Jewish people. They will never see those people, like the people that are, that have been psyop. Everybody's disconnected, guys. So what I'm saying is, no one knows to even ask. It's like this. one of the sons on Pesach. He doesn't even know to ask. Folks, the majority of people in Israel, they don't even know to ask. And if they know to ask, they don't know whom to ask, where to go, who to talk to. You could say, what about Zamir Cohen? What about this guy? What about Hidabrut? What about the... Guys, they don't know to ask. And whoever they know of, there's been so much lashon hara over the years. There's been so much slander. You think these people are going to approach a guy with a black hat and ask him? I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Most likely they won't. They're scared. They're scared out of their wits. All they saw on television was, this guy's like this guy says this guy said, out of context here, out of context there. My friends, secular Jews live in just as much in a ghetto as religious Jews in Israel, like my friend is saying. Social ghettos. My friends. So now is the time. The iron is hot. Now is the time for people like us who do know to spread the message. Spread. When I say the message, I'm not talking about, how these televangelists talking about. I'm talking about just bring Jews back. Whoever you can bring back to the Torah. If you see a person, it's what the Rebbe used to say, Ufaratsta, spread out. If you see a Jew, guys, if you're in Israel, even if you're outside of Israel, even here, guys, you think we don't have the same problem here in America? Of course we do. Of course we do. A friend of mine just invited me tonight. He was like, let's go to there's like some kind of a event, Hashomer Hatzair, right? A Hanukkah event. And I said, do you know what Hashomer Hatzair is? It's it's a bunch of like socialist kibbutznik. Hashomer Hatzair was the organization that was, attached to Ben Gurion during the founding of the state. There was two groups, Hashomer Hatzair, and then they had Ergun, all those places. So I go, are you sure you want to go to the place? And my friend goes, dude, let's go infiltrate. Let's go infiltrate over there. Because again, it's not about the leaders of Hashomer Hatzair, it's about the people who attend these places, who may be open to Torah. Again, people like us, right? Just ignorance or whatever, what have you. So anyway, guys, the point is, the iron is hot, and we can't let the opportunity slip by, because this is probably the biggest opportunity since 67 and 73 that we've had to bring Hashem into Klal Yisrael, to bring Hashem into the land of Israel. I mean, not that he's not there. The Gemara says Hashem's eyes are always on the land of Israel. To bring Hashem to the people of Israel. Because right now, guys, a lot of amazing things are happening, but they're happening kind of like haphazardly. This person's doing this person's taking on this. But again, folks, they don't, it's like a blind man in a dark room, and he's walking around and he's just like feeling around for something. He's looking for light. The problem is he doesn't know which direction to walk in, right? And if he's left alone, right? If he's left kind of like wandering around, he may get lost. Again, folks, people are calling in like, how do I say, light the candles? How do I say Kiddush? How do I say this? How do I do that? Guys, I'm not even talking about making people into Talmidei Chachamim, into Torah scholars. I'm talking about just like basic things. I just had a conversation today with somebody from Israel who lives here in the States. He said, we got to do this thing where we like create, the sister city thing, right? So sister cities, a city in America with a city in Israel, and you basically do a thing where, we sponsor mezuzot for these kibbutzim, right? For these kibbutzes. Just mezuzahs, guys. A lot of these houses may not even have mezuzahs. We sponsor, fixing a shul, a Sefer Torah. Just, guys, basic things, what you would call paraphernalia, whatever. My friends, it's Hanukkah. And honestly, and it's interesting, we have now Hanukkah was a military battle, but it was also a a spiritual battle. It was miracles, spiritual miracles. And so, guys, right now we have, we're fighting an external enemy, just like in Hanukkah, we have a military battle. And it's interesting, right? Right before this war, we had horrible Hellenization. The Hellenists were literally they saw what the, so to speak, Maccabees were trying to do. Maccabees got in power. They were trying to change the system of judges, Shoftim. And the Hellenists were like, no, we they see that they're losing the country and they have to stop the Maccabees, right? But and then there was an internal battle, and now you see, guys, we're fighting an external enemy. But right now, Hashem is giving us such a gift. He's giving us such an amazing opportunity to bring light to our brothers and sisters in Israel. Also, not only in Israel, but also in the diaspora, wherever you live, in the States, in Europe, wherever, doesn't matter. Anyway, guys, just thought I'd bring that message, apart from like political stuff and all the rest of it. I mean, we understand what's going on, and it's Hanukkah, guys, and we have an amazing opportunity. And really, I hope that let's say from now until Purim, maybe in Purim, we will, after we get done with the basics, then the nation will re-accept the Torah, and like both the written and the oral. And the Purim, we just re-accepted the oral Torah. We will re-accept the entire Torah. And then, God willing, once we hit, as I said before, and I've been saying it many times, once we hit Tisha B'Av, just like, unfortunately, Simchas Torah was turned into Tisha B'Av. I had a lot of people pointing out to me that if you read like I believe it's Eicha, there's a certain part. There's certain parts where on Simchas Torah and certain parts of Eicha they're like basically the same, but on Simchas Torah you go up, on Eicha and Tisha B'Av you go down. So I hope that in Tisha B'Av, this Tisha B'Av, we will read that part the same way we read it on Simchas Torah, and Tisha B'Av will become like Simchas Torah. It'll be a happy day, and Yizrat Hashem. All right, guys, let's get to work. Hanukkah Sameach.